Okay, let's get started. This is the first status update on Project First Light. If you've not seen that video, it is up and available to view. But before I get into the actual update, I want to thank a couple people. I want to thank Callie Mark, 7448, Johnny Bravo, Iron Man 2024, Gaza 9839, and I want to thank each of you for taking some time to write some comments, offer some ideas, provide some helpful information, identify what I may not have had on my list, and so I just want to say thank you. So let's get into the update. So again, this is the first status update for Project First Light, and the concept here on this project, if you've not seen the other video, is a person reached out to me. She is a new DSO Imager. She had purchased some Astro gear and was looking to find someone in her area that could help her bring these things online. Now, I happen to be about 2.5 hours away from where she's located, but I said, okay, I'm willing to help. I enjoy working in a collaborative manner with people, and so I said, sure, let's give it a shot, because I'll learn something through this process. And in particular, all her gear, for the most part, is different than what I've used in the past, so I'll gain some knowledge through that process. So again, today's December 21st, and let's flip through the deck. So in summary, I met with KS. Her first name is Kim. She's a new imager, and we met yesterday evening, 5:30 Pacific time. Reviewed goals and expectations, including her thoughts on why she purchased the gear she purchased. So I got a better handle on that. And it was important to understand her goals and kind of what she was thinking about how she was going to use each of the focal lengths and whatnot. We did discuss, I did bring up to her potential impact of the sensor size of the ASI 6200 cameras. I wanted to set her expectation that larger sensor may potentially be more tilt. More tilt, if not corrected, can affect the stars. Also, when I saw one of her pieces of equipment was the ASI Air, not knowing what model it was, I wanted to call out that the large file sizes of the ASI Air at roughly 119 to 120 megabytes per file could exceed the storage capacity of the ASI Air based upon its model for a whole night of winter imaging. So I wanted to get those expectations set. And then reviewed her complete Astro gear bill of materials, what she's already acquired, which does include equipment for guiding and power distribution. She also has purchased a flat panel. I think, what she has purchased makes sense. Again, I think the ASI 6200 camera, she has one MC, one MM, is going to present a few challenges, but when they pop up, then we'll deal with those issues accordingly. Then we assigned some action items, and then we did discuss the next steps. When would be the best time for me to go on site at her location, and we're tentatively shooting for that should be late January 2025, somewhere around the new moon. Now, for the first light, we don't necessarily have to have the new moon night. There's a lot of things we have to do to get everything dialed in before we can start imaging. So Now let's go into a little bit finer detail on the status. And this spreadsheet may be helpful to new people or people considering getting into astro, deep sky, object imaging. So if this can be helpful to you, let me know. If you want access to it, I'll consider that. If I receive your email, we can sort all that out. But there are just some logical questions that you want to ask. In this case, she had already picked her gear, but some important things that I discussed with her is where will the mounts be located when imaging. So she's going to image out of her backyard. We talked about, are there any like street lights and other lights that might be a problem. She says possibly neighbor backdoor light occasionally is on. Oftentimes, if you let your neighbor know that you're going to be doing some imaging, they might be more sensitive and not put that light on if possible. Discuss what her horizon looks like below 30 degrees altitude. That's TBD. When I get up there, I'll kind of help her sort that out. And given that she's running N.I.N.A, we have the ability to put a custom horizon in, once we see what the sky looks like. If she's clear and free above 30 degrees, I think then she'll be in pretty good shape, because we can set minimum target altitude of 30 degrees in N.I.N.A. I forget what's available in the ASI Air. Also, how will the equipment be powered? So she's going to use mains. And, in the U.S., mains is commonly used for, like, instead of saying utility power. So she has the ability, she has outlets right outside her back door. So we'll be able to use that power, have a little distribution outlet box for her to be able to power multiple devices. We discussed how clean her power is, so she's not aware of any brownouts or outages in her particular area. I did discuss with her potentially getting a little APC UPS that can condition the power a little bit more. Has generally the small one that I'm using has 5 protected outlets and then a couple of more outlets, so she may consider something like that as we go forward. She really doesn't know, based upon the Bortle scale, how dark her skies are. When I go up there, I have a handheld sky quality meter, so we'll just take some readings and kind of get an idea of how dark her skies are, and that can influence us a bit on how long of exposures we want to take. Now, I'm biased, and I'm going to share that bias with her, because I tend to prefer shorter exposures, enough to swamp the read noise, and then just take a lot more of them. Now, with a 6200 camera producing a file size of 119 to 120 megabytes per file, you need to have the storage to support it. She has not purchased electronic or motorized focusers, so I'm working with her on that. The GT71, that's pretty straightforward. No doubt the ZWO EAF would be a good candidate for that scope. And then when it came to the WO FLT 132, I'm doing a little bit more research on that. I've already spoken this morning to an owner who has that scope and is using the ZWO EAF. I did reach out to Pegasus Astro and to see if their the Power Cube 3 is compatible with the 132. What I want to avoid is looking on cloudy nights. Some people are tapping holes. I don't want to have to tap an existing hole and those type of things. I would really just prefer to have a solution that's stock that just bolts into the available holes that are there. You know, probably have to take out some grub screws and stuff like that, and that's okay. But I don't want to be tapping any holes in the 132. So again, we've confirmed that she plans to guide the mounts. I still need to confirm her scope and camera choices that she purchased, and I now have the model numbers for the flatteners, and not clear yet what cables she has, although a lot of cables did come with the different items that she purchased. And then I just reviewed with her what the assumption is that the 132 is going to be mounted on the GM8. Well, it turns out she has loaned the GM8 to one of her friends because it's heavy, and she's decided to go with another Rainbow Astro mount, which is lighter, and she purchased the counterweight bar and counterweight for that second Rainbow Astro mount. And then again, I need to confirm the model. And again, as I mentioned, here was some of the risks that I laid out for her that we reviewed, essentially what I've already shared with you, and so we know that we can track that. So if we start to encounter something, we've already have the expectation that these are the potential issues that we're likely to run into based upon the experience of other imagers, how consistently each sensor is in the camera, how much tilt it has. I would expect that's going to vary from copy to copy and those type of things, but we're aware of it, so we can give some forethought on how we could possibly mitigate that. But until we start to see some of the stars and what it looks like at the edges, of course, around the edges with that large a sensor, we can do some cropping to hide some of that, you know. So we'll just have to figure out a strategy, but really we need to get it up and running. And with our 132, we'll use Hocus Focus and the aberration inspector to help us profile the amount of tilt and those type of factors. And then I had some concern about what was she using for a USB hub. It turns out she has purchased Pegasus Astro hubs. I don't have the exact model number yet. And then I reviewed with her what we want to start downloading. She does have a mini computer already. It happens to have a touch screen on it as well. I didn't know that those existed. And so she's going to start downloading these items onto that mini computer. And initially, we're going to go with the stable release of the N.I.N.A 3.1 HF2. And I've asked her to download these plugins because we'll be leveraging those. My plan to try to hide some of the sophistication of the advanced sequencer is to get her started with the target scheduler approach. And if you haven't seen my videos on target scheduler, you might want to, and you're a N.I.N.A user, you might want to take a look at that. I think it's going to take out a lot of the complexity of the advanced sequencer. We, again, as I said, she does have a flat panel, and so we touched upon the need to take calibration frames, taking darks, flats, and bias frames. So I'll build more into the spreadsheet around that, and probably a little table of what we want to shoot for as far as how many flats, how many darks, how many bias, and I'll start to build that out for her so she has that as a guide. Again, on the focuser, I did a search of cloudy nights trying to identify what other people were doing when it came to the William Optics 132. Again, I'm not worried about the GT71, and I started to collect some threads or links to various threads. But this morning, a person, Brian, that I was able to communicate with through the Sacramento Valley Astronomical Society, of which I'm a member. I made a post on their Facebook page, our Facebook page, and he got back to me, and we had a rather interesting conversation. Brian is he has a 3D printer. He designs and had circuit boards built and everything. So he's someone I want to talk to a little bit more, and maybe it's a future video interviewing him to find out more about him and what some of the things he's been working on and developing. Again, I'm starting to build out a manual page of what I think are the important manuals for her to start to review. She's already started reviewing the PhD 2 user guide, so she's already starting to build her knowledge around that. She has posted questions on cloudy nights, so she has that knowledge that is a source of information for her as well. And then let's just quickly review what the GT 71 is going to look like. So we now have the telescope, we have the flattener model number, yes to the guide scope. We believe she believes she purchased the ASI 120 Mini for that guide scope. We need to purchase an autofocuser. So we need to confirm the model number of the Pegasus Astro power box or hub that she has. And I did confirm with her for the Rainbow Astro, she did get the appropriate tripod and a half pier for that mount. And she believes it's the ASI Air Plus, but we still need to confirm that model. So aside from the EAF, which is pretty much a low-cost item to procure and fairly straightforward to mount on the GT71, she's in pretty good shape as far as all the equipment that are going to be important to her being able to image through the night, in my mind. And then likewise for the 172, correction to 132, she's identified the flattener that she has. And again, we need to confirm the guide scope and guide camera, but she has those items. We do need to purchase an EAF for that scope. We'll make the final decision in the next few days. Again, she has a power distribution box and USB hub. We'll confirm that. And I'm curious. I want to know the model number of her mini computer with the touchscreen. So that, and then just far as some task and action items, she's going to start downloading the software for N.I.N.A. I'm researching the motorized focuser for the 132, so I can make a recommendation to her. We'll both be watching the weather and moon illumination to pick a weekend where I can schedule 2-night stay in my camper van at her location. She has a place where I can park where it won't be bothered, and so we're going to allocate 2 nights and to focus on getting both tubes up and running. And then I'm going to provide the EAF model numbers once I the recommended EAF model numbers once I get that information together. And then her and I are going to work together to get this spreadsheet built out so all the model numbers are listed. So that's the update. It's really enjoyable conversation with her. She's going for it. I think it seems like she purchased some good mounts, which is always something that you want to put focus on when you're a new imager, in my mind. And if you hang out on cloudy nights, you'll hear that a lot, the mount, the mount, the mount. I think the fact that she went with refractors, even though she's jumping in and purchased 2 refractors right out of the gate, At least it's not a Edge HD 8 or 11 or 925. So, I think she made some good decisions there. Again, we'll see how good the decision was of the 6200, and we'll just have to adjust if necessary as we start to see the results that it is producing when it's attached to the GT71 and to the FLT 132. So anyway, if you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up. I'm going to create the playlist just for KS's Astro project that I'll call the playlist on the channel. But kind of fun. It's being able to help others, and really appreciate the people I called out at the front end of the video, willing to get engaged to an extent, and and right off the bat offer important ideas and questions that I should be asking based upon the gear list. I'm going to want to sync up with someone that has a lot of ASI air experience. I can probably identify that person through the Sacramento Valley Astronomical Society. That's one of the great things about being a club member, is you have resources available to you, people that are experienced and willing to help. I've been an advocate for joining clubs. I'm such an advocate. I belong to two, the Riverside Astronomical Society and the Sacramento Valley Astronomical Society. And I plan to continue with SVAS even once my telescopes go down into star front observatories where I'm dropping them off on the 29th. So that's getting very close, that date. So, all right. Other than that, thanks for dropping into the channel. If you have any comments or additional helpful information now that you've kind of seen what the revised equipment list looks like, yes, I don't have all the model numbers yet. Those will be filled in and available when I do the next status update. Feel free to offer, raise your hand, provide whatever information you feel would be helpful, or maybe you want to be a little bit more engaged and get involved in some calls that we might jointly do with Kim. But let me know. Other than that, clear skies. Till next time.